Welcome, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Sunday, December 29th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread. First two cards we are starting our day off with today. We've got 3 cards we're starting off today with. Our first card is our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our 8 of Swords in its reversal in combination with our 6 of Pentacles in its reversal. So let's talk a lot right now about what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Now, one of the things that's really important to identify right now, there is a lot of work that we recognize and identify as being done in the realm of, effectively, I want to describe this as working through the energetic lessons of the last year, right? This is why we've got a lot of this like large impact that's occurring right now with this new moon energy. We've also got a lot of this duality that we're seeing right now, especially and particularly with the combination force of the Gemini full moon that we're just coming out of right now, with the combination of the new moon that we experienced previous to this and this second new moon within the same 30-day cycle. So that's a lot of that black moon energy that we're talking about here. So a lot of that sense of working through and recognizing nuance is happening right now. And a lot of that work, I want to describe this as allowing for that sense of getting, like, it's working through circumstances and situations, but also identifying what you are energetically releasing and leaving in the experience of 2024. There's a lot of this work that we're effectively seeing that's happening right now. And, you know, one of the things that we were also identifying is this is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Now, one of the things that we're identifying that's occurring right now for energy and separation is there's a lot of this closure that we identify as happening for those experiences from the past. And a lot of it has to do with equal energy exchange, right? And what do we see with equal energy exchange? That sense or that space of feeling the easement of when someone is moving in the same directionality as you, right? When we're working in energetic partnership, things move with a lot of easement. And so I see even now that there's a lot of clarity that's happening for energy and separation simply via setting one's own intention and allowing for that space or place wherein you recognize and identify that is like how easy something can be when someone desires the things that you do. And for masculine and feminine energy right now, and we talked a little bit about this because this was a little bit more of that conversation that we were experiencing yesterday with repose. Why was repose coming through in a lot of the reading that we had yesterday? Because that sense of finding peace within articulates and amplifies what we're able to give to those outside of the self. So for a lot of this energy and separation, this peace that you've been creating for yourself, it's hard work. It's hard work finding peace within. It sounds simple, but it's very challenging. And for masculine and feminine energy right now, working through that internal turmoil, right? And then allowing it to occur within the self and bringing peace out as a result. This is the gift. Like, this is the gift that the energy and separation is giving to one another, right? And it's the simplest thing, but it is also the hardest thing. And it is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, I just keep seeing that there's a lot of this masculine energy that is approaching feminine effectively with like an open palm. That's the best way I can describe that connection. Why do we see that the masculine is working on approaching feminine with an open palm? Because this is the masculine energy that is working through their own emotions, identifying the difference between the desire that drives them towards feminine, right, versus that higher aspiration. And so when masculine is in that modality of recognizing and identifying what their aspiration of feminine is, and they feel the conflict point about what their immediate like what their immediate self desires. This is the masculine that is working on coming into that space of healing the egoic self, right? Because we've been talking about this. The ego often interrupts our ability to move towards our manifestation goals, right? Because the ego is energetically demanding. The ego wants something energetically immediately. The ego doesn't want to go through the journey, if you will, in being able to recognize and identify the value of the path work. While for the higher self recognizes and realizes that. So we see even now that there's a lot of this masculine energy I see that is coming towards feminine from a place or space of authenticity, right? There's a lot of this energy that says to the feminine, these are the things that I desire, but we can only move towards them if you desire those as well. For feminine, I see that same work is effectively occurring here. For a lot of the feminine energy right now, this feels, I want to say, this is a lot of that continuing journey that we see that is more, it's challenging for the feminine because it is about the sense or space of maintaining and navigating energetic standards, right? This is a lot of that feminine energy that honors their standards. And what's interesting about energetic standards is that space or place of having standards, like that easement point occurs when we build trust with counterpart. So we see even now that there's a lot of this feminine energy that is healing because, and this is what we were talking about, when the masculine energy approaches the feminine in such a way that they honor their own path work, then it's not that modality of, again, trying to be forceful or trying to be insistent upon what it is that you desire with another. You meet someone on that energetic journey. So I just keep seeing that there's a lot of this energy right now in separation that is feeling the easement. They're feeling the harmony. They're recognizing what that feels like. And in the process of feeling how easy it can be, they're working on healing, on letting go of anything that felt like they took something that should have been an easy process and made it very difficult, right? Because when somebody takes something that feels like it's easy and it becomes difficult, it is the amplification of someone that doesn't desire the same things as we do, or the articulation of desiring something that one is saying, but moving in a way that is counter-oppositional to it. Again, the work of healing the ego. For masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, I just see that a lot of this work that's occurring right now, coming into divine union, I just see this as like a sigh of relief, if you will. Why do we see that this is feeling like a sigh of relief? Because there's a lot, I want to say there's a lot of that feeling that I see right now for energy coming into divine union that is working on the lesson of saying to themselves and to those around them, give me the grace to recognize what is within my own power to change versus what is not within my power, which is in my power to accept. Why do we see that a lot of that energy is articulating and saying that? Because that is the way that we honor path work, right? This is the energy that if they're moving deeper into divine union and something about them moving in deeper into divine union is causing volatility in another or creating energetic turbulence outside of partnership, that same space or state that we saw that was being recognized and someone articulating and saying to someone that it was not their intention of doing so. If this is the energy that articulates the joy that they have in moving deeper into an energetic connection, but even at that moment, someone is still being rigid in relationality to how they're experiencing it, not sharing that same sense of joy, we see that a lot of that energy is just moving away from that because that is the sense of building into a place of care wherein you identify where you find someone. You don't invest yourself in trying to change their opinion on something because it isn't your prioritization point, but you leave there the opening and the hope that something can heal going forward. So I see even now there's a lot of that energy that is recognizing and identifying both where they find themselves in partnership, building into that sense of appreciation for the easement that they've created for themselves as they continue on their journey, while at the same time articulating that sense and feeling that sense of support by those around them, right? And that's not the energy that's trying to change another's opinion about what they feel about those partnerships, but coming into peace and recognizing those that feel like they're in alignment to them versus those that feel like they're more in that space of holding something energetically personally. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, I'm just recognizing and identifying that a lot of this work that we're seeing right now, deep within divine union, it's a lot of addressing, like, working. I see, it's more of that same hermit energy that I'm getting here for a lot of that energy deep within divine union. But it's positive hermit energy. Why do we see that right now? Because for a lot of that energy deep within divine union, feeling that sense of solitude that you're able to navigate, not necessarily having to be in energetic lockstep with one another, but creating the space, the gift of giving someone the ability to be able to both be themselves and be their most authentic self, while also being able to find solitude in partnership. Like, that is an energetic gift that we give to one another, right? Because it creates that sense of stability. You know, for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, that recognition point that solitude is not lost in healthy partnership. It's often found. A deeper level of solitude can be found because you feel the stabilization point of being able to be in solitude, but also with the security of the energetic presence of what you've created with the partnership. There's a lot of that energy there that feels that sense of creating peace and working towards that. This is a lot of that energy that feels like they're working through navigating loose ends or addressing things. Again, masculine moving more in that vector of easement and play that we were seeing yesterday, that was speaking towards repose. Feminine being much more focused right now and just knocking things off of their to-do list. Bearing in mind that's not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Third card in our 5-card spread for today. And this is, I need to express this right now. For masculine and feminine energy, there's something very important that we're seeing right now in relationality to, I want to say, a lot of that feeling of nostalgia that is very characteristic of periods during this time. Why do we see this? Because again, a lot of that feeling of resolution that we experience is because we come out of Sagittarius experience, which is allowing for a lot of that adaptability. And then we come into Capricorn season, which feels much more like getting things done. So that ability of doing so, I see even now, it's bringing out different qualities and characteristics in masculine and feminine. This is a little bit of that distance that we're seeing even now that may be occurring, even if you're feeling, even if you are deep in divine union right now. Because for feminine, this is a lot of that work I see right now of the feminine being in that space of emotionally healing. There's a lot of this feminine energy right now, and that's where some of this focus is coming from. Because there's a lot of that feminine energy I see deep within divine union that is almost articulating and amplifying that emotionality. Like, this is the feminine energy that doesn't allow the emotions to get in the way of getting things done. Like, this, I can see the feminine energy like almost looking at the emotions right now with a sense of objectivity, right? Because this is a lot of that feminine energy that we saw has been working right now on building into that sense of prioritization and focus. And those that are effectively like, and what do we see? And look, this is like the beauty of the energetic harmony space. What do we see that the masculine is doing for feminine in that way? This is masculine that gives feminine that distance, right? This is the masculine that gives feminine a little bit of that separation point, because this is the feminine, the masculine that honors, right? Honors what the feminine needs as opposed to their own immediate needs, right? While for masculine energy right now, we see even now that this is more of the masculine energy that is moving back and forth like through this energy a little bit more. And I want to say for some of the masculines that are experiencing this right now, if you're feeling, I want to say, if you're feeling, I see a lot of masculine energy like going through this moment right now and being like, I don't really know what I want. I can't put my finger on it. Like, you know, there's a little bit of this work that we're identifying right now for masculine that it may be feeling a bit more introspective, right? There's a little bit more of this adaptability here. And so what's interesting about this, and this is what we see it even here, masculine moving more in that space of repose, trying to find like what's creating that space of allowing for something that feels like I feel like there's a lot of this is like a lot of masculine energy, like almost like in that like creative like brainstorming, if you will. You know what I mean? Like working through something to a certain extent. And that's what I mean. Like this is the same energy that we saw masculine in yesterday, which is like masculine, like working on something and then moving away from it and then going back to it and then moving away from it, because this is the masculine. It recognizes the validity of a process that when you like give your mind like a minute away from something, sometimes you land upon the energetic solution to it, right? So this is, it's interesting because you'll recognize right now what's very intriguing about this energy is it's creating a sense of deep focus for feminine, and it's creating more of a flow state for masculine. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, I just see even now and this is why this may feel more energetically protective. For the energy coming into divine union right now, working through that letting go process. This is some energy that's recognizing that we move deeper into divine union. It almost feels akin to the maturation that we have as we grow on a personal perspective. Because if this is the energy that is recognizing that as they move deeper into divine union, there's energy that doesn't feel like they're in alignment to them, or energy that is oppositional towards partnership. You know, when you experience that, you don't try to change someone's mind in the context of it, but it's bittersweet, right? Because you recognize that, again, what is characteristic of a maturation process? It's inevitable, right? There's not a choice involved. This is the energy that recognizes that when we heal, like a part of it is coming into, and I want to say, like, that's what we talk about that joyful surrender, right? That sense of identifying that as we heal, we need to leave ourselves like open to what that brings forth in us. So if this is the energy that is recognizing those changes, I want to say that this is almost masculine and feminine approaching it with a sense of wonder. And it does at times feel overwhelming. For feminine, it may feel like a lot of that emotional overwhelm in recognizing and identifying the work that is integral, that helps them recognize what was within their control of the, like, this is feminine energy discerning and recognizing the difference. And this is happening for the energy in separation as well. The easement that occurs wherein someone desires the same things as you. And when feminine energy recognizes that, it can be emotionally overwhelming. Why does it feel emotionally overwhelming for the feminine? Because it reminds the feminine of all those experiences in the past where the feminine felt like they were failing because something wasn't moving in the directionality that they desired and aspired it to go. It's like, I want to say, it's like a sobering realization to a certain extent, right? There's clarity that comes through that journey. And I see even now that for a lot of that energy of feminine, it's emotional. It's an emotional period right now. And that's why I see even now, I'm going to send some sentiment out to feminine energy that's moving into divine union. And they feel like some of that process is letting go, because this is the energy that says, like, I'm letting go of the past self. But that doesn't feel like the feminine moving further away from themselves, right, on that journey. That's the feminine that is accepting those changes as they move closer to what it is that they feel that their higher self is driving them towards. For masculine, this is more of that space of potentially healing the inner child. Because I feel like a lot of the masculine energy is either looking towards themselves or looking towards those that don't identify or understand the choices that they're making with a sense of compassion, right? Because if that's the masculine that recognizes that in others, that's the masculine. I see a lot of masculine energy being like, I remember when I felt like that. I remember when I didn't understand either, right? Like, I can see the energy being like, I know, like, I can feel like a masculine energy coming into divine union, like, almost like having energy saying to them, oh, you're surrendering, and being like, no, I'm not surrendering. You don't understand. Right? Because if you don't understand what that is, like what that preciousness is, like, this is the energy that says, no, I have something else that I'm holding sacred now. So there's a lot of that journey that we see that feels like it's eye-opening for a lot of the energy coming into divine union. And it has a lot to do with how others perceive something versus how you yourself are perceiving it. I told you, like this Capricorn new moon, it's like everything is about like clear eyed to a certain extent. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, it's the same thing right now. I just gotta say this. And I gotta say, there's like a lot of release that I'm experiencing, I'm seeing for energy in separation. And and the one thing I will appreciate about it is it feels like a lot of healing and a lot of compassion for the self in the process. For feminine, I see that there's a lot of this emotional vulnerability that is like coming back online, if you will, for a lot of the emotion of the feminine in separation. Why do we see a lot of that emotionality? Because if this is the feminine energy that is feeling the easement of working with masculine that, desires the same things as them, then it immediately, this is the feminine that forgives them, like starts working on forgiving themselves for any of those places where they were trying to fix something that was effectively outside of their hands to fix in the first place, right? We can't force someone on path work. And so this is the energy of the feminine, recognizing and understanding that there's a lot of the feminine that's giving themselves a lot of compassion for the past version of self in the process. While for masculine energy, I keep seeing if this is masculine energy that's building into authentic connection with feminine, that authenticity, feeling the weight of that, feeling the acceptance of the feminine that says to masculine, when you're at your most authentic, I can see you clearly and I can love you there, right? Even now, I'm not saying that this is energy like this is energy that is learning how to trust again. And it's trepidatious. It's baby steps. But that's because the healthy partnership is one that does not recognize it as a race. They recognize it as a journey. Fourth and fifth cards of our 5-card spread, before we start getting clarification on these cards, we have here our 7 of Wands in combination with our 2 of Cups in its reversal. I want to say, there's a lot, I feel like, and I just want to prepare you for this, it feels like a lot of emotional unpacking that is potentially arising up today in preparation for that Capricorn new moon, right? It feels a lot like that sensation of better out than in to a certain extent, right? And I have to stress this even now, for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, I just keep seeing that there's something really profound that's occurring, because in the observation of feeling how easy something can be with someone that desires the same things as you, this is energy that looks back and says, I cannot go back to those experiences wherein that did not occur, because now it's the energy that just sees it for what it is, right? Like this is the energy that goes, this is masculine and feminine that goes, yeah, I once you see something, you can't, it's like you don't engage in it because your perception on something shifts, right? And so I just see a lot of this energy right now that's in separation that just is in that space of like not wanting to engage in a tug of war, right? When we don't want the same things, it feels like it feels like we're engaging in a tug of war with someone. And so I see even now there's a lot of this energy that is healing from those experiences. It felt more like a tug of war because they're working in collaboration with energy that wants to move in the same direction as them, right? This is the energy in separation that says the gift we give each other in partnership is the easement, is the gift of easement and making something as easy as clear as possible. And so I like this because what we're seeing right now is it's painful. I can see that. I can see that frustration that we see that's rising up to a certain degree, but the frustration isn't necessarily in the present. It's the perception of the past in a different way via the context of what you're experiencing in the present. For masculine and feminine energy right now, this is why this feels more energetically protective, right? Because if that's something that you're experiencing, that it feels like it's creating that sense of we're moving away from anything that was creating turbulence after trying to tell someone or articulate that it was not your energetic intention. That's that modality of, I just see a lot of that energy grieving or feeling like they're grieving because someone doesn't share their perception, right? Alignment is sharing perception. So I see even now, if this is the energy that's moving deeper into divine union, and there's energy that they're moving towards that doesn't see that as such, this is the energy that doesn't try to change another person's perspective of their partnership or the energetic union that they feel that they're moving towards, that moves them towards their highest self. They come into that point of accepting it, right? And that's bittersweet. Well, for for feminine, there's a lot, it feels a lot more emotional right now, right? And for masculine, it feels more frustrating because there's an aspect of masculine. I'm even seeing even now, I just keep hearing some masculine energy coming into divine union that's almost saying to themselves, I remember when I felt that way. I remember when I perceived something in that way. Right? And that's a masculine. I was saying, I remember how you can't really change someone's mind until they themselves recognize and hold something to the same level or degree of sacredness. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Six of Pentacles in its reversal and in combination with our Eight of Swords. Can I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we have here our Emperor card in its reversal. Now this is like heavy. This is like energetically intense right now, and we're going to get into it because this is important. Because one of the things that I'm seeing that's happening right now has to do specifically and particularly with a lot of this work. I want to say this is a lot of the masculine energy right now working through their own sensor space of vulnerability, right? There's a lot of vulnerability I see that is kind of rising to the surface here in relationality of this work. Now, for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, that sense or that space, if you will, of facilitating forward and like, and I keep seeing this, like for masculine energy right now in deep within divine union, this feels more, I keep seeing it, it's like more like cat energy. Okay, that's like the best way I can describe it, right? Because it's the energy that's like wants to do something, isn't quite sure what they want to do, like moving back and forth between things, touching something, going back to something else, right? It's a lot of that feeling right now of masculine, like working through what they're going to set their intentions on. Like there's a lot of this like energy I'm seeing here that just feels akin to, I want to say, like planning or working through that or identifying what that is going to be. And I think that a lot of that right now is characteristic of some of this new moon energy. It's like the masculine that's like looking there and being like, where, like, what am I going to put my focus on? Like, what is going to be that big thing, right? For feminine here, this is more feminine addressing little things right now and just like knocking them off the list, right? Boom, 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 boom. Like doing one thing after another. And this is why I see that this is the energy that's working in harmony with one another, but feeling a little bit of that hermit energy in the process because they can recognize that they're not necessarily in the same modality, but they're working in harmony together, right? For masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, this is a little bit different. Why do we see that this is a little bit different right now? Specifically and particularly because for the masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, it, like I just keep hearing, it's a maturation process. And it's a pain, and it's like much like this is the energy that is effectively experiencing growing pains as they move deeper into divine union, right? And what are those growing pains? It's feeling the distance that is energetically being created as you move in accordance with what you know is best for you, right? And when you're moving in accordance with what you know internally and your higher self says is best for you, it's like when you're growing taller. It's like it's like it's unavoidable. Like it's unavoidable. You can't change it, but you also recognize that it is occurring and you feel that sense of bittersweetness because you're glad that it's occurring, but you also feel sad because you recognize that that change is moving you away from certain experiences or certain individuals that might not be in alignment and growing at the same rate as you, right? So we see even now, like, that's a little bit of that energy that feels like, I see like a lot of that bittersweetness that's occurring. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, in separation, this feels this feels more, I want to say this feels more frustrating today. Why does the energy feel more frustrated today? The energy feels more frustrated today, specifically and particularly because this is the situation or circumstance of identifying when you recognize how easy something can be. Like when you recognize how easy something can be, it creates that sense of, it creates that sense of frustration in you. And the difference that's happening right now for the masculine and feminine energy and separation that's healing in this way. And for masculine, I keep hearing for the masculine and separation, this is the masculine saying, this is how easy it is if I just got out of my own way. Like this is a lot of I just see a lot of the masculine energy right now in separation that's healing, that's having the insight of recognizing how easy it can be when we just move out of our own way. And why is the masculine feeling like that? Because that's a masculine that's like moving in that way of not allowing the ego to get between what it is that they aspire for and what it is, like what it is they're thinking and what it is they want to say. I just see the masculine like removing the middleman to a certain extent, but not in the space of just saying anything, right? But speaking authentically, speaking from the place of vulnerability, right? Not allowing the ego to say something that moves you further from the thing that you desire to move towards. So there's just a lot of masculine energy that's going, this is how easy it could be if I got on my own way. This is how easy it could have been the whole time. Like I see the energy going the whole time if I just got out of my own way. And then like the ego's going. While for feminine energy right now, a lot of that work may be feeling more akin to the feminine, that's recognizing and identifying the gift of not just bringing the emotions to the masculine like an equation that needs to be solved, but doing that internal work. This is also, you'll recognize, this is also the feminine that is doing the work on healing the egoic self. But this is the feminine that says when I feel the emotions, my own ability to find a solution to those emotions, when I bring those solutions to the masculine, I heal the connection with masculine because I'm not giving them emotions like a riddle that needs to be solved. I'm being very circumspect in terms of what I am feeling, working through that within the self, and then articulating the solution to the masculine even at the time that I express the emotionality. So we see even now, and a lot of that sensor space is creating clarity. And this is the clarity that is allowing for breakthroughs. But this is, again, if this is the feminine that's being very energetically clear with the masculine that's authentic and they're feeling the easement point, if this is the feminine that has been doing this for a while and they're feeling that easement, this might be feeling the feminine's going the whole time in relationality to the energy around them that wasn't moving in accordance with them. Continuing to get clarification between, that's why a lot of that frustration is getting released. Getting clarification, continued clarification here between our Six of Pentacles and its reversal in combination with our Eight of Swords and its reversal, in combination with our Queen of Cups and its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. We love it. We've got here our Nine of Cups in its upright. You can heal it, but first it's gonna make you mad. There's a lot of that energy, like better out than in, like let it come up and then just clear it out. Like it's a little bit of that type of energy today. But this is where the work is, and I just need to stress it's very common. The thing is, new moon energy. This new moon energy almost feels very similar today. I just need to stress to this. This new moon energy has like the kick of a full moon. That's the best way I can describe it, because it's like the double intensity of the like the double new moon, right? So it's like, it's that same feeling of what feels like it is creating that, like what feels like it is energetically restorative versus what feels like, I want to say there's a lot of this work that's being navigated in terms of recognizing how far you've come today and building into that sense of appreciation. And a lot of it also has to do with perception. And I feel like a lot of that, like if you're navigating a space where you're recognizing and seeing things in a different context, I want to say to you, congratulations, because that ability of doing so, I just see a lot of that energy that is working in that context of forgiving themselves for the past by recognizing that they're not the same person in relationality to how they perceive something or how they feel. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within divine union, a lot of that work is built upon and based upon the appreciation of coming into a space of feeling the easement of being one's authentic sense of self, but being able to be one's authentic sense of self and finding a deeper level of solitude and partnership. Because often, and this is the beauty of building into healthy partnership, the solitude that we find in healthy partnership can also feel more expansive than it does when we're in solitude, because it is the solitude that is energetically chosen. It's not just where you find yourself. It's like you can make that, you can find that ability of doing so because you feel peace. When you feel peace with counterpart connection, you can find a deeper level of solitude. So I see even now that for a lot of that energy deep within divine union, being appreciative of that is a lot of the gift that we see that is being navigated as we work through this new moon energy that has a lot to do with setting of intentions. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, this is the energy that looks towards a counterpart, and if anyone creates turbulence, they're saying they're not understanding. You are my peace. This is not the energy that is articulating or feeling. This is the energy that keeps articulating to those around them. If they're moving towards something from a place of positivity and joy, and another is not seeing it in that way, that's the energy that looks at something with a sense of sadness, because that is the energy that says to another, I cannot change your perspective on something, but I hope the day comes that you understand it. For feminine, it has more of the emotionality of feeling that separation from those that may feel that moving deeper into partnership, they're taking more personally as it relates to the feminine and their emotionality. For masculine, it has more to do with potentially navigating those whose priorities feel that partnership is something that takes away instead of something that gives. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, I keep seeing the same thing. This is energy in separation that is building bridges. But this is the important thing. This isn't just the energy that says they want the harmonious partnership. You can't just say you want a bridge. You gotta pick up the tools. You gotta be willing to build it. You gotta be understanding. It's not just enough to say that you want something. You have to apply. You have to move in accordance with what you want to manifest. And so I see even now that there's a lot of that energy that is feeling that is recognizing and appreciating, starting to build with someone that not just desires or articulates that they say the same thing as one another wants, but they show the ability, they show the acumen of self to know what it takes to get there. Continuing, and for feminine, experiencing that can be emotionally overwhelming because it heals the feminine from those experiences where the feminine felt like they were failing in some fundamental way. For masculine, it is recognizing that authenticity that you bring forth to feminine are the tools from which you are building. Continuing to get clarification between our Queen of Cups in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Wands in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our King of Cups in its reversal. There's a lot of emotionality that I'm seeing today. Particularly, I need to stress this, particularly for masculine energy. I just keep seeing there's a lot of this emotionality here. And I just keep recognizing that the ability of, like, the thing about that's rather beautiful is for masculine energy, And I see even now, like, look at this. Like, this has more to do with, I told you, a little bit of that cat energy that we're seeing around masculine right now, right? Because we've got, do you see this right now? We've got the King of Cups in its reversal, and we've got the Emperor in its reversal, right? And then we've got the Nine of Cups. So I told you how we saw the masculine, like almost more like a metronome energy right now, like going back and forth, like puttering. This is puttering, right? This is puttering energy, right? Working on it, moving over here, working over here, like it's a lot of this, like. But that's the energy of the masculine, like trying to land upon like what they want to put their energetic concentration on right now, right? It's like you can't find your taste until you figure out your distaste, right? So there's a lot of this work that masculine is doing right now in refining their manifestation goal, right? So we see that in a big portion here. So again, if you're feeling like a little of this like unsettled energy today, like a little bit of like navigating that point of discomfort, like just like, it's giving a little like Princess and the Pea kind of energy, like just like sitting there being like, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it's because they're like you're landing upon like this is you feeling the impact of that new moon energy, and it's creating that sense of potentially having a breakthrough by like moving back, and it's like a flow state, moving back and forth between things right now, and just like doing a little thing here and there that creates that sense of integration. For feminine today, this is more emotional, is what I'm seeing. This is more the feminine today, navigating those spaces and places. I gotta say, this feels more energetically frustrating for feminine right now. Like Queen of Swords isn't on the table, but it feels more like Queen of Swords energy, because I see even now feminine is just trying to feminine is navigating a feeling of emotional overwhelm by just navigating and tackling everything that they can, right? And this is why I see that these energies are giving each other a little bit of distance, because recognizing that someone might not necessarily be in the same modality as you, this is the energy that like the gift that we give one another is not what we desire from another, but really being able to see what another needs at this time. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy deep within divine union and coming into divine union, that attunement, being able to like vibe check your partner and just understand and be like, they're in a different place right now. Like, this isn't the energy that feels distant in that way. This is the energy that feels the security and being able to see the counterpart and understand that, right? While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, this is why this experience is different. And I have to say, and I'm going to say this again for the masculine energy that's going through this, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine energy, if you're doing that work on healing the egoic self, okay, and you're recognizing and you're finding that beautiful gift of being able to move the egoic self out of the way, not letting the egoic self get in the way of what it is that you truly seek, and recognizing the validity and authenticity of that vulnerability that helps you move towards your manifestation goals. I don't want you beating yourself up about the distance or time that it's taken you to reach that point. The mantra from the masculine continues to be the same this year. You are always on time. You are never late for your own journey. You are exactly where you need to be when you need to be there. And that sense or that space, and I can see it even now. I see some masculine energy that's moving towards their manifestation goal in separation right now and saying, is this happening because, like, is this connection occurring because I found myself, or is it in connection to the person? To which I'm going to say yes. The answer is yes. Like, welcome to the beauty, like, welcome to the beautiful, like, welcome to the beauty of experience, which is, again, you are always on time. You're exactly where you need to be. And that is what we describe when we talk about harmony. That is what we describe when we talk about that sense or space of serendipity, right? Welcome to serendipity. While for feminine energy, I see that there's a lot of the feminine energy that's working through that same space, but recognizing and identifying this is feminine energy that is building into, I can see feminine energy right now that is feeling overwhelmed in someone that is respecting and are identifying their own energetic boundaries. not looking at the feminine, not arguing with the feminine about what those standards are, but someone that is not only meeting those standards but energetically raising them. This is more of the feminine that's also going through that process of emotionally healing. I see a lot of the feminine energy that's saying, why do I feel so emotional when everything's going fine? Well, because you're starting to feel at the safety of being able to feel again, right? And when you're able to feel again, like a lot of stuff is coming up, but is it the feminine energy that is being reactive to it? No, this is a feminine that is identifying and recognizing what that journey is, right? And it's painful, right? Because this is the feminine that says, oh, I just now I can finally heal from something because I'm no longer experiencing it. While for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, I just like, and this is happening like across all of the frequencies right now. For the energy coming into divine union, it's more of a frustration as it relates to the optics of others. For masculine, I see a lot of the masculine energy almost feeling that maturation process as they move deeper into partnership, particularly as it relates to navigating other masculines that don't see it as the gift that it is, right? Like there's masculine energy that articulates to the masculine that it's some kind of feeling of energetic surrender, and the masculine's like saying to themselves, it's not surrender. Like it's not, like it's the opposite, right? Because this is the perceptual shift. While for feminine energy right now, that same feeling, it feels more frustrating and it feels more upsetting if that's in relationality to the feminine not feeling that sense or space of those being happy, for the feminine being in a space of emotional joy, right? A lot of that bittersweetness is being navigated. While for masculine and feminine energy, again today, the gift in divine union is being able to give each other the space to navigate where you are, because that is the gift that we build in healthy partnership. Continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Wands in combination with our Two of Cups in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Justice card in its reversal. Now, a lot of this work I see even now is working through and navigating imbalance, right? But what's beautiful, and I see even now, when we navigate and work through experiences of imbalance, and we're in a space of like when we're energetically healing, and this has to do more with, again, that sense or space that we spoke about those that might not necessarily be navigating the Mars retrograde as effectively. This is just your gentle reminder that if someone's coming towards you in a space that they're feeling very like aggressive, or they're feeling very energetically provocative, I want you to identify the fear that exists behind that provocation point. Remember that, because I keep seeing even now, working through that space, that I keep seeing that this is a compassion with a combination of healthy boundaries, right? For masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, facilitating on that point of focus is a lot of the energy attention right now, right? And masculine and feminine energy are doing it in different ways. For masculine, this is the masculine like really trying to figure out a balance point for themselves, like a groove. Like this is the masculine like really trying to focus on creating a groove for themselves. And that's good. Like that's a good thing to be doing at the beginning of the year. This could be new habits, new practices. This is a time for it, right? For feminine energy, this has to do with where one is focusing. I see a lot of feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, just really knuckling down right now. And a lot of that focus has to do with where one is setting one's intentions and attentions going forward. So a lot of planning, all to the sense of working through anything that felt like it was energetically imbalanced in the past to bring it to a point of easement. For masculine and feminine energy right now, the reason I'm seeing that there's something that's bittersweet right now for the energy coming into union is this is the energy that is recognizing and identifying what they have to, like what is creating that feeling of imbalance, right? If this is the energy that is trying to articulate to others the harmony that a partnership is bringing forth between themselves, and they're still navigating some of that energetic turbulence outside, like that's not the energy that over concentrates and trying to convince another what they know to be energetically precious. They just ineffectively move away from it, right? They have to give someone that space, because that's the energy that says, just as it would be unfair for another to like everyone, like I keep hearing, like everyone is entitled to their perception, right? When we're in a space of healing, we don't try to force our perspective on others. We leave that point of adaptability and we say, I'm sorry you feel like that. I'm sorry you see things in that way. And you hope the day comes that they also match your own energetic perception, right? So there's a lot of compassion that I see that's happening right now for the energy that's coming into divine union, but it's the energetic compassion via the maintaining energetic boundaries. While for energy right now in separation, whoosh, a lot of karmic clearing today. And I see a lot of that karmic clearing coming in this vector of recognizing what the imbalances were in the past and recognizing them in a way. And I see even now, this isn't the energy that's like running back to the past because they recognize what those imbalances are, but that perception of it, it feels like it is restorative. It feels like it is healing. Continuing to get clarification between our Emperor card in its reversal in combination with our Nine of Cups in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Star in its reversal. Now, like feminine energy, I got to point this out. I just want to show you right now that both masculine and feminine are very much in alignment today. Because as it relates to a little bit of working through that processing, some of that energetic overwhelm. Why do we see that to a certain extent right now? Because we've got the masculine here with the Emperor in its reversal in combination with our King of Cups in its reversal, right? So we have that here. Feminine is also going through that. So this is masculine going through that feeling of the emotionality. So this is more of the masculine navigating that from emotional space. But look at this. We've got the King and Queen of Cups right now in their reversals with one another, right? So this is a lot of the feminine that's also doing that work as well, because we've got here, especially with this feminine energy, with the Star energy in its reversal. This is the feminine energy. Masculine is healing and processing from those experiences and places that feel like they separated them more from their emotional self, right? Feminine is healing from those experiences that make it hard for the feminine to be their vulnerable self, right? So we're seeing even now that for a lot of that energy, this is the articulation of frustration. The difficulty point that we're seeing here is both of these energies desiring to be vulnerable, right? Both of these energies desiring to be in their space of authenticity and feeling the frustrations outside of the self that often feel, and for the feminine, it's the ones that are outside of the self. For the masculines, it's the ones that are within the self, right? For the masculine, it's like working through the energetic ego that tries to move you away from what it is that you desire. That's why, again, the healthy masculine heals themselves and forgives their ego by saying, listen, hey, buddy, I know you had my best interest at heart. I know you had my best interest at heart. I know you were trying to energetically protect me, but the reason I heal you is so that you don't accidentally move me away from the things that are good for me. Right? An unhealthy ego, an ego that is not in a healthy place, will try to protect the higher self, but in the process of trying to protect the higher self, will move one away from the thing that is best for oneself in the process, right? This is why the healthy masculine energy, again, I'm going to say right now, working in that space of forgiving the self in the past, right? Working in that space of looking at the past, anything that you look at in the past and say, I wouldn't have done that, that's your inner child. That's where you start. That's where you're going to look at that energy and say, I forgive you. I know you were doing, again, what do we say to a child that tries to do something, but they don't do it the way we go, I forgive you. I know you meant, I know you were trying to get me to, I know you were trying to do what was best for me. I forgive you. If something that you did trying to protect me moved me away from something that was for me, right? So we see even now, like that's a lot of that masculine energy working on that pathwork of internal forgiveness of the self, recognizing the changes that they're imparting along the way on that journey. For feminine, this is the feminine healing the becoming stronger by looking at the past version of self and saying, you were too energetically vulnerable. That vulnerability is a gift. It's not that we want to lose that vulnerability, but we have to protect you effectively from those that don't want the same things as you, that want to take advantage of that vulnerability, that don't cherish it for what it is. So we see both right now, masculine and feminine, that are both healing. Feminine's healing via that mantra, I am getting stronger every day. Masculine, healing on that journey this year. These are the mantras. I am always where I need to be. I am always on time. I am never late for my journey. Continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Cups in its upright in combination with our King of Cups in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with, we have here a lot of inner child healing today, guys. A lot of inner child healing. And I know, and listen, inner child healing, it's painful stuff, okay? It's a lot of that pathwork of forgiveness. It's a lot of that space or place of embracing, like a lot of that work of embracing the past version of self. I'm going to say it again. If you're looking in that context wherein, again, you're experiencing something and you're saying, I could have done that better, congratulations. Congratulations, right? Because that observational point, that recognition, that point of observing and taking energetic accountability and navigating forward with that sense of refinement. This is not you saying, and this is an energy that look like, if you're not looking at something and saying, I'm never going to do that again. I'm just never like, and this is why this type of energy right now, if you're like, I'm just never going to trust again. I'm just like, no, like that's not what you do, right? You say, I open myself up to the experiences of the past because by looking back on my path work, I can understand how I can refine better going forward. And I hold that past version of self. I embrace that past version of self. Because were it not for that past version of self, I would not find myself where I am today. So a lot of this energy right now in separation, continuing to look at this work between these energies in separation, right? I didn't expect to find myself here, but I'm glad. I didn't expect to be here, but I'm glad to have found myself here. This is the energy that is finding each other on the way. And sharing in that journey does not require one to be perfect. It requires one to be energetically accountable in relationality to where you are and where you're going. Continuing to get clarification between our King of Cups in reversal in combination with our Justice card in its reversal. Can I have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Oh, here's that Moon card again. We had the Moon card yesterday. I love the fact that like the Moon card keeps popping up because we're like right on the cusp of that, that Capricorn black moon. And it's like, I want to say, like, I keep getting the same message that it's like, this is like the new moon that feels like a full moon because it's a black moon, which means it's a double amplification of the new moon. A good time for setting intentions and also moving away from things that don't feel like they create clarity, right? Like the beauty, and we have to talk about this because, again, the thing that we keep seeing that's happening right now, especially with this Mars in retrograde, it's hard to have confidence in things right now, right? It's hard to have confidence in things. Courage does not exist where confidence exists. Courage is what we do when we set our intention forward. So that ability of doing so, like there's a lot of potential shadow work that's coming up right now. Like a lot of that, like better out than in. But again, when we're doing that work, when we have to address those parts of the self that create anxiety, when we have to address those parts of the self that create those doubts and fears, do we just shove them aside? No. There's healthy fear. Everything that we receive is a gift to us, right? When we are able to be in a space where we are able to look at our fear and confront it, much like our past, we can say to the energetic fear, is this something that is rational? Is this something that is tangible? Is this something that is actionable? Or is this something that is intangible? Is this something that just creates anxiety? So there's a lot of this like beauty that's happening right now with the Capricorn new moon, which says something is only beneficial if it is productive. And that includes spirituality, that includes the tangible space, and a lot of that sense or space, I want to describe that the beauty that we're seeing here is the harmony in being able to recognize that what might be good for one person might be not good for another, right? The beauty of healthy path work is being able to be appreciative in where we find each other on our unique journeys. It doesn't mean that we have to be beholden to another's journey. It allows that sense or space of being able to be appreciative of what another might be experiencing and honoring that, but also honoring our own selves in the process. So I see even now that for a lot of this energy, working through that, that is something that's happening across all of the frequencies. And for a lot of the energy in separation, that feeling of uncertainty, this is the energy that says, we might not be in love. I might have just met you, but I'm going to honor you by trying to make that path ahead as clear as possible. And in that space of someone saying that, in that sense of building with someone that shares that same prioritization point, that says healthy partnership is how clear we make that path. This is energy that heals from any experience in the past that was built upon and based upon creating an illusion that created confusion. And that's where the wounds begin. Continuing to get clarification between our star card in its reversal in combination with our page of wands in its reversal. And this is where the inner child healing comes in. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our page of pentacles in its reversal. Now you'll recall yesterday a lot of heavy pentacle energy. Now we see a lot of that energetic release in relationality to recognizing and identifying. And I have to point this out. This is the energy, and I need to stress this. This is an energy in separation that's building into that false context of what they can energetically expect from one another. This is feminine energy that is coming towards masculine in a space of not trying to create artifice. Like, this is the feminine that says to masculine, like, I'm sorry if you find me overly protective, but I have to embody this because of the energetic lessons I've learned thus far. What does the healthy masculine say? I don't take that feeling of protectiveness personally. I recognize if you're energetically protective, it's probably because it's the amplification of someone that caused that wound in you. So this is the masculine that says, I too have experienced those modalities where I am energetically protected. It makes me hard to be my authentic self because I've had those modalities that made me feel that I had to inhabit a part of myself that wasn't myself in order to feel love or in order to feel appreciative. So you see even now that these are the energies that are coming towards each other with no artifice. And the gift that they're giving each other is that authenticity. The gift of the gift is not the illusion of what can occur. It's the gift of what they clearly see with one another. They're giving each other the gift of clear seeing, and that gift of clear seeing is allowing them to build something from a place of authenticity. For a lot of this energy right now, again, coming into divine union, this is why it's bittersweet, because I just keep seeing that for some of that energy coming into divine union, if there are others that don't see something in the same perspective as you, this is an energy that says we have to make it our job so that everyone understands how I feel about you. No, who would do that? Like that's the energy that says, what are you gonna do? Like it's that energy that goes, I'm sorry you feel like that. Like it's not the energy being like, no, I have to show this person. It's like, no. Like, who cares? Like, it's like the energy going, who cares? Like, because this is the energy that says, this is what I care about. I don't care about what other people think. I care about what you think. And even in that modality, like, there's the healing. Because that is the energy that says, if someone doesn't see it that way, it's because they don't prioritize the same things as we do. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within divine union, this is the energy, just like, honestly, it's really kind of cute because this is the energy deep within divine union that's saying, I'm giving you the gift of space. But this is the energy because it's like when you're in that context of having the surety of one another, often the gift you give one another is being able to have the space to be able to inhabit an energetic frequency that may not necessarily feel like they're in the same place, right? It doesn't require you to have to be like in lockstep to each other. It's being respective of what another needs at that moment. Continuing to get clarification between our page of wands in its reversal in combination with our moon card in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our 5 of wands in its upright. So, I gotta stress, it's characteristic that prior to new moon energy, we often can feel frustrated, right? We often feel confrontation outside of the self or confrontation within the self. This is either an internal conflict or external conflict. Remember, we are moving into a new moon. Don't concentrate on the energetic conflict. Look for that path work that feels like it's energetically restorative, right? Because I see even now that the beauty of this is adaptability. And a lot of that is like, and I have to point this out, like they're saying that, remember, a healthy resolution is in two parts, right? A healthy resolution isn't just talking about what you're going to do. It's also going to it talks about what you're not going to do. Right? Like a lot of that, it's like they're saying, remember the two-part resolution right now, which is again that modality of experience of saying, this is what I'm going to resolve to do, and this is what I'm going to stop doing. Because that ability of doing so, like that is the two parts of the energetic resolution, right? That is the gift of, again, moving forward and building into what feels like it's healthy versus moving away from what feels like it's not. Final card for today's spread between our Page of Pentacles in combination with the Five of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with, I love it, our Knight of Cups in its upright. So like a lot of this that we're seeing here, it's like this is like path of peace. Like this is like this is that it takes a lot of work to be peaceful. It takes a lot of work to be peaceful is what I'm seeing. It's like, it's like, and this is more of that energy that we saw yesterday that's coming through in relationality to, they're saying like the gift of repose, right? And it's more of that feeling of like swan energy. And why do we talk about swan energy? Because like a swan, when you see a swan, it's like, it looks fluid. It looks effortless. Look at it. It just looks so graceful. Like just like floating upon the water. And it's like, if you could see under the water, you'd see the swan's legs, like just tearing it up, like just, like you got like the, they're just digging it up. They're doing all of that work. And so a lot of the energy that I'm seeing right now is the feeling of joy that's occurring for a lot of energy right now that's doing that work either within the self or experiencing and meeting it in others without, which is that sensor space of identifying the work it takes to be able to find that energetic peace, right? It's not something that you just land upon and go, oh, good, I'm done. It's like, it's a constant calibration point, right? You constantly have to address it. You constantly have to change. Just as you feel like you're there, it's gone again. It's ephemeral for that reason. So that ability of doing so, I see even now, like it feels like a lot of that energy that is identifying like what those changes are and being mindful of those, but also doing something in a way that feels like it's energetically positive and restorative, right? And so I see even now, like I can see some energy that is like recalibrating in relationality to their connection to things. And some of those things I can see someone being like it's like giving me like training wheels are off kind of energy. You know what I mean? Like there's something about that I almost see someone saying like, okay, I don't need that anymore. But that's beautiful because it's in that space or place of working through that I see even now that this is like the energetic equivalent of someone moving into a space of deeper authenticity via the navigation of what feels like it is helpful versus what feels like it's no longer serving an energetic purpose. Right? And I see even now, like a lot of that work, it's having a different impact on the frequencies. For the energy in separation, I just see that there are some beautiful new partnerships that are opening up in that context. Because this is the energy that feels the appreciation of the work that they're finding in themselves and the ability that when we do work within ourselves, we can recognize it in another. While for the energy coming into divine union, a lot of that work that we are identifying at this time, this is the energy that recognizes and feels the weight of how far they've come in relationality to how precious they hold an energetic connection that they create between themselves. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is deep within divine union, a lot of that work that we're effectively seeing at this time is the amplification, if you will, of like the beauty, like work. And this feels like more of the energy that has the gift of being able to have the space to struggle with something, and the energy of a counterpart that doesn't force one to be in the modality that they are in, but gives oneself the space to be in the authentic space that you need to be at that time to address how you're energetically feeling. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Four of Wands in its reversal. So for a lot of this energy working through this right now, I feel like there's a little bit of this, like, I feel like there's course adjustment that's occurring, right? There's a little bit of this work that I see even now in relationality to identifying and recognizing what those energetic goals are. So I want you to have a little bit of compassion for yourself right now. If something that you were like, and I'll point this out, like this is often characteristic of someone moving towards a manifestation goal. Often we move towards a manifestation goal and then we recognize we find the thing that we were looking for in the journey towards it. It's not necessarily requiring us to reach the energetic destination of what it was that we were seeking. So I see even now it's very interesting because I feel a lot of energy during this period are moving toward, they're in their manifestation goal, and they recognize that they're in their manifestation goal because their manifestation is changing, right? Sometimes it is characteristic of us having arrived at a manifestation goal in the moment we recognize that we no longer desire the things that we desired when we first set off on a journey. So if you're going through that right now, I want you to have a little bit of compassion for yourself along the way. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website, so I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the Strength card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, January 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the Hermit card. I cannot wait to teach this class to you guys. It is a fascinating card. We will be going over the symbology of that card, the history of the card. I will be showing you its interpretations depending on what position you find it in your personal spreads. I will also be providing you a unique spread that is completely customized and built for that particular card. If you'd like to become a part of that class program, all you need to do is head over to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also have access to a one-on-one you'll also have access to the full Tarot Church library when you become a subscriber. So that is over 9 hours worth of material that will be included in your subscription. It is not necessary to catch up entirely for every class. I will be giving a recap on what we've studied thus far, but the material is there for you to receive when you're ready to receive it. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we've learned thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So I want to thank you if you're just joining us there for the first time, and I look forward to potentially seeing you at our next class. And if you are a subscriber to our TikTok, make sure that you head over to our subscriber-only TikTok channel over on Discord. There you will find in the perks section a special coupon code that will give you an additional discount to those classes. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings, services. I post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to our giveaway information. And speaking about giveaways, congratulations to the winner of our November giveaway. If you'd like to see if you won, it is listed over on our most recent newsletter. Congratulations to our winner. Finally, I want you guys to know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my clients that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series of 4 45-minute classes, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.